P, Q, R, S, and T are sitting around a circle facing the center. Who is to the immediate right of P? Who is to the immediate right of P? Who is to the immediate right of P? So 5 persons facing the center. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are the 5 persons, right? Sitting around a circle table facing the center. Let's go according to statement 1. Q is seated second to the right of P. Let us assume this is P's position. Q is seated second to the right of P. First and second, Q comes here. What do we have to find out? Who is to the immediate right of P? Immediate right of P. Now, what is immediate right position of P? This. So basically, we have to find out who comes in this place, right? We have to find out what is this question mark. Who is to the immediate right of P? From statement 1, it is not sufficient. From statement 1, you cannot get the answer, because statement 1 only tells us that Q is second to the right of P. But who comes in between is not known. So statement 1 fails. Go for statement 2. I am drawing another circle for statement 2, right? Don't plot on the same one. You will get confused. We are trying independently first, right? So try only statement 2 now. This is only statement 1. This is only statement 2. Later on, we'll combine. Statement 2 says R is seated between Q and T. R is seated between Q and T. Now, there are multiple possibilities. Q here, T here, and R can come here. Or we can interchange Q and T, right? These two positions can be interchanged. It can be QRT or TQR. But then, this no way helps us in finding out who is to the immediate right of P. Immediate right of P can be Q, or it can be somebody else. I mean, immediate right of P can be any person here, right? Immediate right of P can be T. Like, for example, P can come here or here. If P comes here, immediate right is T. If P comes here, immediate right will be the other person, S. So statement 2 anyway is not sufficient. You getting it? Statement 2 also is not sufficient, because there's no mention of P at all. Now, again, you see, both the statements have independently failed to give the answer. And only when statements have independently failed to give the answer, we go for combination. Now I'll combine, right? So let us combine the two statements. I'm combining the two statements now. So draw one circle, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? These are 5 positions. According to statement 1, Q is seated second to the right of P. So this is P, first and second, this is Q. Now, R is seated between Q and T. Again, on the same circle, we will plot, right? R is seated between Q and T. So Q dash T is not possible. The only possibility is Q dash T. So T comes here and R comes here, right? R is seated between Q and T. The other side is not possible. And it is obvious that the missing position should be occupied by S. Now that the arrangement is complete, can we find out who is to the immediate right of P? Yes, obviously, immediate right of P here is clearly known to us. How? Only when you combine both the statements. So by combining the two statements, we are able to answer the question. And hence, the answer should be option 4. That the data in both statements answer should be option 5. Option 5, that the data in both statements 1 and 2 together are necessary to answer the question, right? Data in both the statements 1 and 2 together are necessary to answer this question. All right. So that's about data sufficiency here. Is Q the grandfather of T? Remember, the question starts with is, was. What happens? These are like true or false questions. Is Q the grandfather of T? The answer will either be yes or no. And if the answer is no, means that you know the answer. You're getting it? No is not the wrong answer. No can also be the correct answer. Are you able to follow? Are you able to follow? It's like this. Did Hillary Clinton win the US presidency elections? What's the answer? No. Now, because no is the answer, does it mean it's the wrong answer? No, it is the correct answer. I mean, this is where we get confused. Most of the students get confused here. Because one of the statements gives no as the answer, you feel that statement is not sufficient. But the point is, you have got to know that no is the answer because of one of those statements, which means the statement is sufficient. Right? Yes or no question. So be careful. So is Q the grandfather of T? Look at statement 1. Q is the father of R. Draw the family tree quickly. Q is the father of R. R is the sister of T's father. R is the sister of T's father. So let's assume this is T here. T's father is this person. R is the sister of T's father. You getting it? So Q is the father of R. R is the sister of T's father. T's father. Let's assume the person is X. X is T's father. So is Q the grandfather of T? Yes, clearly Q is the grandfather of T. T's father's father. These two are siblings, right? So T's father's father. Father's father is grandfather. So statement 1 is sufficient, right? Statement 1 is clearly sufficient to answer this question. Right? According to statement 1, yes, Q is the grandfather of T. Look at statement 2 now. L is the father of D. L is the father of D. D is the brother of T. D is the brother of T. W, the uncle of D. Uncle of D means what? Your father's brother. Of course, it can be your mother's brother also. Let us just proceed with one first. So W, the uncle of D, is the son of Q. W is the son of Q. W is the son of Q. Are you able to follow? So this is what we get. The other possibility is that L is the father of D. L is the father of D, right? Then D is the brother of T. D is the brother of T. W, the uncle of D. Uncle of D can be what? Uncle of D means it can also be that W is the brother of D's mother. So let's assume this is D's mother and W is the brother. And W is the son of Q. W is the son of Q. Anyways, we do not know the gender of Q. Remember, the question says, is Q the grandfather of T? Clearly, in both the cases, we find that between Q and T, there is a 2 generations gap. In both the cases, right? T is the grandchild of Q, or Q is the grandparent of T. But which grandparent, male or female, that's not known to us, right? See, Q's gender is not known. And until we know the gender of Q, we cannot answer this question. So, is Q the grandfather of T? I don't know from the statement 2. Answer is yes, no. Answer is no, no. Are you able to follow? Can you come to a conclusion from statement 2? No. Because in statement 2, the gender of Q is not given. Unless the gender of Q is given, we cannot answer this question. Q can be the grandfather or grandmother. Both are possible. And hence, statement 2 alone is not sufficient. If statement 2 alone is not sufficient, and statement 1 alone is sufficient, then directly your answer is option 1. You don't have to go for combination in this case. You getting it? You don't have to go for a combination. You can directly say that only statement 1 is sufficient. Only statement 1 is sufficient. Alright? I hope all of you have followed this. Now, before I proceed to the next one, I want you to acknowledge your understanding. Did you all follow this? Remember, I am repeating myself, you have to combine the data given in the 2 statements if and only if the statements independently fail to give the answer. If both the statements fail to give the answer.